There is absolutely nothing they can say bad about you. Your reputation speaks for itself, and that frustrates your enemies, that frustrates your haters. When people look for flaws in you and they cannot find any, that irritates your haters. People who go around looking for bad things to say about you when your reputation says otherwise, that absolutely frustrates your enemies and irritates your haters. These are people who go around searching for flaws in you in order to make themselves feel better. But see, when your reputation speaks for itself, there's nothing they can do. See, people who can't find anything bad to say about you, they start making things up. You see, when your reputation is somewhat spotless, people see you as a good woman, people see you as a good mother, people see you as a good worker, people see you as a woman who makes a positive impact in the world. People have more good things to say about you than bad. That frustrates your enemies. That frustrates your haters. And they start with the character assassination simply because there's nothing bad to be said about you. See, there are some people who are so messy, so nasty, they have so many skeletons in their closet, they wish that you had skeletons in your closet. But because you don't, they have to fabricate and make things up. You see, when they don't have anything bad to say about you, in part because they don't know anything about you, they have to start making things up. But what they don't realize is that people who try to look for bad things to say about you when there are none, they just prove themselves to be haters and to be jealous people. There is nothing more embarrassing, more humiliating for a bully, for a person who tries to character assassinate you, than to be found out to be a hater. And when people go looking for flaws in you, that's exactly what they're doing. They're proving themselves to be a hater. These are also people who try to come after not just your character, but they might even try to come after your looks. They may even try to come after what you do for a living. They may even try to come after where you come from, simply searching and looking for flaws to make themselves feel better. See, people who try to look for bad things to say about you, bad things to do to you, when there's nothing they can do and nothing they can really say that will make a difference to other people, that's when they start getting more frustrated with you. See, people like that you don't want to deal with. People who are always picking out your flaws. Now, disclaimer, sidebar, nobody is perfect, but that's not the point. There are some people, when they're jealous of you, they deliberately seek out flaws in you in order to make themselves feel better. These are your people who will see you looking beautiful, see you feeling good about yourself. They can sense an air of confidence in you, and that's when they start searching and looking for ways to put you down. See, people who look for things to say bad about you when there's nothing to say, they make things up so that they can feel good about themselves. They start saying things like, yeah, her dress is cute, but her hair could look better. They say things like, oh yeah, she's working there, but it took her 5 years to get the promotion. They always try to justify their hate towards you with some kind of belittling statement or belittling comment. They always try to make other people think that you're not as great as you are. They go on their discrediting spree, as I like to call it. See, when people can't find anything bad to say about you, they just start making things up. Let's go back to that character, because I'm sure a lot of women, especially if you are over the age of 30, you have probably dealt with haters, jealous, envious people who like to come along and criticize everything that you do simply because you do it well. These are your people who always want to offer you some kind of advice on what you could be doing better. Not that you're absolved from accepting advice, we all do, but many people like to hand out unsolicited advice when there's nothing bad they can say about you. You have women who get jealous of the parenting style of other women. You get women who get jealous of women who try to give their children the very best. They start critiquing their parenting. They start critiquing how they're taking care of their kids. They start critiquing how much they're doing for their kids simply because they're not doing it. And then when you have women who look for things to be wrong with you when there's nothing wrong with you, it's because they wish they were doing the things that you were doing. So when a woman tries to look at your taking care of your body, taking care of your health, your self-care, and just how you look out for your overall well-being as a negative, that's because they wish they were doing the same thing, but often they're too lazy to do it. Or they're too busy trying to blend in with mediocre people, so much so that they don't want to put in the work, the time, and the effort to do what you're doing. So they try to make what you're doing a negative. See, people who look for things to say bad about you but can't find anything, they'll just start picking apart the things that you do and look for flaws wherever they can find it. People like that are very petty. People like that, in my opinion, have some kind of mental issue happening where instead of focusing inward, they focus on other people. And people who focus on other people all the time are normally those who have an empty life. People who have an empty life tend to be very jealous and envious of other people, especially other women. Women who like to look for bad things in other women when there are none, it's because their lives are empty. Women who have full lives, lives that they enjoy, when they enjoy taking care of themselves and the people around them, when they enjoy just their time and the things that they have in their care, they don't have time to hate and pick apart the next person. But people who are looking for bad things to say about you when there are none, they master in picking you apart. They pick apart your looks, they pick apart your education, they pick apart where you live, they pick apart your job, they pick apart your finances. They make you their case study, and it's because they're a hater, because they're jealous. People who try to look for perceived flaws in you when there are none, when people try to look for bad things about you when they don't know anything about you, it's because they're spending their time trying to figure you out instead of working on themselves. Yeah, believe it or not, it might sound weird, but you are on a lot of people's mind. Even those people that you don't even talk to. People you barely talk to, people that barely talk to you, somehow, even though they try to shun you, they still keep up with you. And you often see this from people who like to stalk other people's social media pages. These are your people who might not speak to you in person, but you know that they're looking at your social media. You know that they're talking to other people about you because you get word about it. These people try to look for bad things about you, but they can't find any. So they become a master researcher on the things pertaining to you. These are also your people when they cannot find anything bad to say about you, they start picking you apart simply because it deflects attention away from them. See, people who are messy, men and women alike, but I speak to women, when you have women who are jealous of other women, when you have women who are envious of the lives of other women, they start picking you apart and they try to recruit other people to pick you apart as well. That is a form of bullying. When people, especially other women, try to recruit other women to gang up on you, to pick you apart, that is a form of bullying. And sometimes they'll try to disguise this as some kind of concern, but in actuality, they're trying to pick you apart, and in essence, they're trying to break your confidence. When you don't have any issues with you, and people try to bring up things that they perceive as a flaw in you, that is a form of envy and jealousy on their part. It's not that you have a real issue that needs to be dealt with. It's that you're doing something that's making them feel uncomfortable. It's making them feel like they're inferior to you, and that's why they need to pick you apart. People try to look for bad things about you and to say about you, and when there are none, they start making things up. These are people who want to misconstrue situations in your life and try to make it things that it's not, simply because you don't have any skeletons in your closet. Messy people like to perceive other people as messy, and when you're not that, they try to make things up about you. They try to lie on you and try to recruit other people to do the same. So what do you do when you're dealing with a person who is trying to make up things about you? They can't find anything bad to say about you, so they start assassinating your character. What I would say is that you don't go out of your way to try to defend yourself, because people who know they're lying, they're liars, and they're making things up about you, trying to assassinate your character. You don't have to defend yourself against a lie, because people who are liars and try to pick you apart and look for bad things to say about you, they will be found out to be a liar. For me, from a spiritual standpoint, I believe that whatever is done in the dark will come to light. So when people try to do shady things against you, try to lie on you, try to pick you apart, try to make up things that are not true, they will be found out to be a liar. And as I said earlier, your reputation speaks for itself. What people don't realize when they try to look for bad things to say about you when there are none, your reputation, your character will always speak for itself. So if you're a good woman, if you're a good mother, if you're a good wife, if you're a good worker, if you're a decent person, if you're a loving daughter, a loving aunt, what have you, no matter what anybody says about you, your character, your reputation will speak for itself. They could make up things saying that you are selfish, you don't care about anybody, but the fact that you are always there for your family, the fact that you are always there when people need you, the fact that you are always around and that you are making other people feel loved and important, that is a positive character flaw. So if people try to paint you to be a snake, but your character says otherwise, they're going to be found out to be the liar. If people are trying to call you a bad mother, and yet your children are well taken care of and they're happy and people see how they are, they will be found out to be a liar. If people try to disrupt your friendships, your relationships, and try to make you out to be some kind of snake, some kind of gossip, the common denominator will be them being a jealous, envious snake, and people will see that. You have to believe that vindication naturally will come from God, so you don't have to fight your battles. Your reputation, your character will always speak for itself. So when people try to look for bad things to say about you and find none, they start making things up. And their lies will always come to light. You don't have to defend yourself against jealous, envious people, against miserable people who look for reasons to be against you and try to get other people to be against you. People who waste their time trying to assassinate the character of another person, they do it because they feel like they are a horrible person. And rather than working on themselves, they'd rather pick apart other people. They become masters at studying the moves, the actions, the attitudes, the lives of other people because they have no lives of their own. A person with an empty life will always make it their mission to gossip and be jealous and hate on the next person. But if you are a woman who understands and knows who she is as a woman, you don't care how many things people try to say badly against you because you know who you are. And the people closest to you, the people who love you and care about you, they know who you are. They can understand and recognize when somebody is saying something that is contrary to your character. They can tell when somebody is just jealous and envious of you and they're trying to distort other people's view of you. And I have to say this, the more you level up, the more you do better as a woman, the more you level up spiritually, mentally, financially, physically, you start looking better and feeling better, you're going to have more people looking for bad things to say about you because you're lessening the amount of things they can say. And not just in the things that you do, but in the things that you don't say or the things you no longer say. Let me sip some of my water. When you become a mystery to certain people, that's another reason why they will go looking for things to say about you, bad things to say about you, but they won't be able to find anything. When you become a mystery to people, meaning you begin to be quiet, you begin to not say much about your life, you begin to not say much about your comings and goings and the things you have going on, that is another reason why people will look for bad things to say about you. It's because they know nothing about you. And it's better that way. I'd rather people just randomly assume things and make things up than to give them my information so that they can have ammunition to use against me, even if it's something positive. You might be asking, how can somebody spin a positive situation and make it a negative? A hater, a jealous person, envious people, they have a way of spinning the positive, the most positive things in your life to be a negative, all because they're jealous. You could have took part in world peace. You could have saved a whole village, and they will say that you were there to initially burn down the village. They always want to paint you out to be the bad guy or to be the villain, simply because your reputation amongst the people is wonderful. Your character among the people is wonderful. And I can hear some jealous person saying now, oh, so you're perfect. Oh, so these people, all people are perfect. No. But people who take pleasure in trying to look for bad things in other people, trying to pinpoint other people's flaws and pick them apart, you do not give them the pleasure or the opportunity of knowing things about you so that they can have things to pick apart. That's where your wisdom, your discernment, your intuition comes in. You have to know the type of people you're dealing with and not give them information about yourselves. I love being a mystery to people, especially people I know who really don't like me for some reason, or they give off that bad energy as if I can't trust them. Because people who look for bad things to say about other people and they try to pick you apart, they always give off this funky negative energy that makes you just feel very uneasy. It's always like you can tell they're trying to be smart all the time. Even if they're smiling, even if they act like, they're so concerned about what you're doing and they're asking you questions. A woman's intuition can always tell her when she's dealing with a miserable, jealous person who's just trying to pick her apart, trying to just find out things. They're very sneaky in that way. So when people go out of their way to try to pick you apart and look for bad things to say about you, and your character and your reputation speaks for itself, you will never have to defend yourself against a hater. They will be shown to be a jealous person, an envious person, a liar, based on how they move, and whatever is done in the dark will come to light. All the skeletons in your closet they're looking for will naturally fall out of theirs. And honestly, they're probably already falling out. That's why they try to attack you so hard. So when people try to look for bad things to say about you and there are none, because you're a mystery, because you don't give them your information, because there's really nothing to say, that just triggers your haters even more, and that's their problem. And honestly, the remedy to dealing with people like this is to not deal with people like this. I see in my comment section a lot, so how do you deal with them? How do you deal with them? How do you deal with them? You don't. You ignore them. You don't acknowledge their existence. You're aware of what they're doing, but you no longer acknowledge or give time and energy to their presence, to their toxicity, because that's exactly what it is. It's toxic behavior when people look for flaws in other people in order to amplify themselves. That's weird. Like and subscribe to the channel and share this content. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. If you watch this video until the very end, put the high heel emoji in the comment section. I absolutely love to see it. Take care.